Toastmaster Lalitha, stage is all yours.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and dear guest. I would like to welcome all of you to 343 meeting of Speakers Dan Toastmasters Club. My name is Toastmaster Lalita and I'll be the Sergeant at Arms in today's meeting. To officially start the meeting, I want to remind everyone that this meeting will be recorded. Some parts of the meeting may also be used for the promotional material later. In order to have a smooth meeting, here are some ground rules that we'll follow during the course of this meeting. First, please put yourself on mute when you're not speaking. Second, don't interrupt while someone is speaking. If you're to move during the meeting, please turn off your cameras. Third, please be mindful from addressing sex, religion, and politics during the course of the meeting. Fourth, be attentive throughout the meeting. Support and encourage the fellow speakers by turning on your camera and your warm smiles and claps. Use Zoom reaction button to express yourself during the meeting. As you're aware, everyone has a mission in life. Similarly, our Toastmaster has a mission. Our Toastmaster mission is to provide mutually supportive environment so that each member of our club can develop their leadership and communication skills, which will help to boost their self-confidence and personal growth. Now, let me welcome the presiding officer of the day, Toastmaster Sankhya. Meet Toastmaster Sankhya. He's been making Roberts work in finance for 18 years. Turning dull into cool, it tells stories so well that even boring numbers sheets want to laugh. And when he's not playing with robots or making people laugh, he's chewing down on his favorite dish, biryani. Here is a number guy who knows how to make fun work and a good meal. Over to you, Toastmaster Sankhya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lalita, and a very good morning, dear Toastmasters and our lovely guests. And as the presiding officer of the day, let me open our meeting number 343 with a clap. And we have some awesome guests today, and let's celebrate our this meeting. And I would request everyone to switch on the video until you face a technical issue or you're outside, because that will give a holistic approach and we can see each other, and that's the feel of the virtual sessions which we all have. So thank you so much, Toastmaster Arjun, Mansi. I can see switch on the video. Great work. I would request everyone to switch because that gives the feeling of the Toastmaster and we can see each other. Now, for the benefit of the guests who have joined for the very first time, let me tell you that what is Toastmasters and why we are so much passionate about joining Toastmasters, and as speakers then we become so crazy about joining every Sunday between 11 to 1. So Toastmasters International is a worldwide non-profit educational organization that empowers individuals to become more effective communication and leaders. The Toastmasters International was founded by Dr. Ralph C. Smedley in October 1924, when the first Toastmasters meeting was held at YMCA in Santa Ana, California. And that's almost 100 years back. And currently, the organization's membership exceeds 357,000 in more than 16,600 clubs across 143 countries. And amongst all this, can anyone tell me in which year Speakers Den was born?
1924.
No, Speakers Den.
2012.
Yeah, excellent. So Speakers Den, which was born or chartered on 25th September 2012, and today we are going to celebrate the 12th-year anniversary of Speakers Den. Now, while we join Toastmasters for public speaking, but there are two additional benefits which comes along the way. Can anyone tell what are those two benefits?
Communication skills.
Yeah, that's the public speaking. And apart from that, what are the other two?
Leadership.
Leadership skills.
Yeah, leadership. And anything else? That's a big thing, the third one.
Networking.
Yeah, excellent. So public speaking, networking, and leadership. these three things comes hand in hand. And being in the Toastmaster fraternity, it's like a sea of, I mean, it's a sea of opportunities where you can get everything over there. And one of the big advantage in Toastmaster is that once you are a member of one club, you can give speeches, take up roles, not only within your club, but across the globe. And Toastmaster being one of the most positive platform, we do one thing which is very critical. We break fear, the fear of public speaking, that unknown fear that what will happen if I fail, or if I forget my lines, or what will other people think of me? Now, let me assure you, at Speakers in Toastmasters, we encourage you to fail because we constantly push our members, hey, don't feel shy, speak up. It's okay to fail. We learned from it. But one thing which will make you perfect is practice. And to do that, you need to speak up in every meeting. Don't feel shy. Then switch on your video. I really appreciate the people who already switched on the video. For those, do switch on the video because this is the time when you will be coming out of the shell that don't feel shy. And what is important is when someone speaking up as an audience, we do something very interesting in Toastmasters. Can anyone say what's that interesting thing? Okay, I'll tell. We clap. Because the clap, ladies and gentlemen, is an encouragement for the speaker when they are on the virtual stage. And since it's virtual, how do we clap? Well, you can show your emojis, you can switch on your video and clap. Now, every meeting has normally three segments of the meeting. One is the prepared speech, second one is the on-the-spot evaluation of the speech, and the third one is the table topic. But today, on the occasion of the 12th year anniversary, we are going to have two main sessions. We are going to have a very special session, which is be taken by someone who is a very renowned one. I'm not going to disclose the name as of now today, but and we followed by that, we're going to have a table topic session, which I'll be conducting, and that will be a fantastic session as well. So with that, let me hand over the stage to our moderator for today's meeting. And our moderator is someone who is a Toastmaster by passion, and she would always, even in her sleep, she is a Toastmaster because she goes and gives a lot of educational sessions. She is someone who I always look up to, and she is the president of Speakers in Toastmaster. With that, let's welcome Toastmaster Sonal as the moderator for today's meeting. Toastmaster Sonal, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sankhya. Firstly, my apologies that I won't be able to turn on the camera right away because there's a power cut in my house. So as the moderator, it is my duty and responsibility to stitch the entire meeting together. Like our presiding officer mentioned, we will be just having two sessions today. And the first one would be a keynote address, followed by a table topic session. Now today, for the keynote session, it was... we have, like Sankhya mentioned, a very renowned Toastmaster. I personally look up to this person from the time I've known him for almost 3 years now. Now, what is so great about this person is he's not just a distinguished Toastmaster once, twice, thrice, but a DTM 4 times. I don't know where he gets the passion to keep going. The most hands-on Toastmaster I know, who's won the Triple Crown 9 times, who's been an outstanding Toastmaster in the year 2020, who's been the Club Growth Director, Program Quality Director, and now the District Director of District 121. Now, why it feels so privileged for me to be introducing this person is because this person had the rare privilege of holding our national flag at the recently held conference, the World Conference, and that gave me goosebumps. And he was a panelist in one of, again, a very prestigious panel discussion. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are truly privileged to have this person today to be addressing, to be the keynote speaker, and to accept our invite. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. With a huge round of applause, please help me welcome on stage distinguished, I repeat, distinguished Toastmaster Arjun Sundarraj.
Well, thank you, Sonal. A quick check. My audio is okay, video is okay, all fine. Awesome. Perfect. So there are a couple of things, all right. Now, I want, in case you're comfortable, then please go ahead and then turn the videos on. It would be absolutely fantastic, like our presiding officer and the president of the club, Sonal, mentioned as well. Now, second one is as much as possible, you can definitely make use of the chat box or unmute and then ask a question in case you have something else as well to ask me through the entire address as such. All right, I was just about 5 months old in Toastmasters, and I was sitting there in the conference hall of Kormangla Club, witnessing the grandeur of Speaker's Den. That was a charter ceremony. A presiding officer mentioned the club was chartered in the month of September. The charter ceremony back then, for the charter kit to arrive from the US, it took a lot of time. And the charter ceremony was in the month of Feb 2013. I was sitting there very new to Toastmasters, 5-6 months old, without knowing what is what. I was sitting there with legendary people of Toastmasters community, the who's who of Toastmasters community. Chandan was a charter president, and then exceptional speakers like Mala Mary Martina, one of the youngest distinguished Toastmasters in Asia back then, and then leaders like our past international director, Gauri Seshadri, and the current international director, Pavas Chandra, and all these kind of people. To come back here today on the 12th anniversary and deliver a keynote in the same club that pretty much inspired me to not just do things in Toastmasters, but also stay more than anything else actively in Toastmasters, truly humbles me, inspires me, and encourages me to do more every second of my life. And most importantly, it's a fantastic opportunity for me to learn from you. So thank you for the gift of your time. As a kid, I always loved asking questions. Anyone love to ask questions? Raise your hand over here or type yes on the chat box if you're comfortable as well. Yeah, I love asking questions. All the first bench students? I was not a first bench student anyway. I was pretty much in the last couple of rows there. So as a kid, I said, I loved asking questions, be it to my parents, be it to my teachers, be it to my friends. Always these, 4 wives and 1 husband were my go-to people. What, why, when, where, and how. These are the four W's and the 1 H, 4 wives and 1 husband. Wherever it is, whatever the situation may be, I asked them a question. So the same practice continued at my workplace and in Toastmasters as well. In fact, I'm not exaggerating when I say this. I found my true calling because of my love for asking questions. Any idea what that might be? Any idea which profession involves asking questions? Not the teacher, okay? Not the teachers.
Journalist?
No.
Scientist?
Oh my God, how I wish I studied so much.
Politician.
Okay, no, we ask the questions to the politicians. All right, a coach. As a
Parents?
coach, sorry, Aditya mentioned something.
No, parents, so I thought.
Okay. Oh, nice. That's a good point as well. Okay. I need to ask the parents in the house there anyway. So, I know when you coach people, you ask them question. The first skill, the first thing that you got to do is to ask smart question to make your client think differently. Socratic questioning, it is called as. And that's what I'm going to do here today in the next, I would say a few minutes. Let me not disclose the number anyway, but ask you very, very important questions. But the biggest question right now is, are you ready for it? Are you really, really, really ready? If so, let me hear you say it or type ready on the chat box. Let me hear you or type ready. Go. Ready, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, that's fantastic. Amazing. Thank you so much. So before we get into the actual thing, I have a small disclaimer over here. Some of the things that I may say today, it may be something or may not be something that you've been taught, seen, or heard over the last few years of your life. But these are purely coming from what I have experienced over the years, picking up leadership roles both within and outside of Toastmasters. And these aspects have helped me truly, personally, and professionally. What my true hope over here today is to help you to help you own your shoes. The first and the foremost thing, it happened about 6 to 7 years ago. I happened to visit a new laundry store near my place. I was just wanting to try how this particular place is. And as a person who loved to wear suits, I felt it is important for me to maintain them as well. So I was exploring a new laundry store near my place, and I gave a couple of suits of mine to him. A few days passed. When I picked up my suit from his store, I was pleasantly surprised. It looked just brand new. It was not clean. It was not just cleanly pressed and cleaned to the entire to make it look new per se. But the best part over here was the way he presented it. It was neatly hung in a hanger, packed in a polythene wrapper sheet, and then gave it to me when he finished his work. And I went to pick it up. Ladies and gentlemen, this laundry man showed leadership in his work, in every step of what he was doing. Why? Because that's the right thing to do. My simple thing over here is, do you stop at the red signal at 6 a.m. in the morning or 11 p.m. at night? I'd say you stop. Why? Because that's the right thing to do. When a project is assigned to you at work, do you demonstrate the leadership like how my laundry man did? I'd say you do. Because why? That's the right thing to do. No matter who you are, what you do, where you work, you are a leader. And the leadership always and always begins with you, yourself. My first question is, are you a leader yourself? Second thing is, when I started my journey with Toastmasters, it was absolutely fantastic. I'm talking about how things started off when it was in 2012, in fact. Excuse me. When I started to speak, the icebreaker speech, I got a standing ovation. I was thrilled. I got this beautiful ribbon, green color one. I still have it, that said, best speaker. And there's a small little tiny certificate that the presiding officer that day presented to me. Every single time I delivered a speech, people clapped. People loved clap. So every time I started to take up role, I was always thinking about what to do to make people clap. The things that I did always was focused on the applause. But that wasn't given me a holistic satisfaction, I would say. That was not really what I was craving for. I got enough of applause with the multiple speeches or the roles or the things that we take in Toastmasters. So chasing applause became my first priority when I joined. What do I do differently? How do I bring in new ideas? How do I bring in new values? I got a lot of applause. When I conducted a conference for the entire district of 92 back then, it got a huge standing ovation of 500 people standing in front of me and then appreciating for what I did. Chasing applause. I was able to create some sort of an impact. But slowly the attention shifted. Organizing a district conference, serving as a public relations manager, be it in the leadership roles of a division director, area governor, club officer roles, all these things gave me opportunity to create an impact. So slowly my attention shifted from chasing applause to creating a huge positive impact. And I started to make amazing impact in whatever I took in Toastmasters and outside of Toastmasters as well. What kind of satisfaction I used to have, unimaginable. But slowly, even that started to fade away. I got used to those as well. I once received a phone call from one of the proteges of mine, and it was about 4 or 5 years ago. He had moved out of Toastmasters after he joined. In fact, his name is Guru. He comes from a small village called as Kudali near the Shimoga district. Shimoga is a beautiful place, and the small village is of where he came from. Guru joined Toastmasters and he was assigned to me as my protege or mentee. Coming from a very small background, he was not very comfortable with the language, and the confidence level clearly showed in his speeches as well. When he started off with the speeches, I felt he's pretty good. He has the intention to be a better person, the willingness to learn from the entire Toastmasters module. So we started to work together. But third speech in Toastmasters, what happened was he was standing there in front of the audience for close to 2 minutes without speaking. He just forgot the speech. I was sitting there in the very last row, just looking at Guru, looking at what kind of emotions he would have been going through at that moment, the kind of embarrassment. After the meeting, he walked up to me. He said, "Sir, I am so sorry. I have let you down." Put my arm around his shoulder and then said, "Guru, you have not let me down. You've just evolved." I just asked him, "Do you want to be a good speaker?" Guru said yes. His passion was there in his eyes. He came to my place the very next day on the Sunday morning. We went for a walk. We discussed about a lot of things that he could possibly do. And then I asked him, "Do you want to deliver the same speech whenever you're comfortable?" You know what he told? Guru said, "I spoke to the VPE and fixed up a speaking slot for the very next meeting." I was shocked. After going through an embarrassing situation on that day, he walks up to a VPE and then says, "I need a speaking slot in the next meeting." We worked through the entire week. He came to my house every single day. We practiced and practiced and practiced the speech that he wanted to deliver. The very next Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, he delivered the same speech, and he got a standing ovation for that. Why? Because he had changed his life. Ladies and gentlemen, my purpose started to change from creating impact to changing lives. I'm not saying this to impress you with what I did, but rather to impress upon you the fact that the role that I saw started to change from chasing applause to creating impact, from creating impact to changing lives. What role do you see yourself play on stage? As a member of Toastmasters, as an employee, as an entrepreneur, as a student, as a leader, as a parent, as a son, as a daughter, as a spouse, as a citizen of this wonderful country, and most importantly, as a human being. What role do you see yourself play? We can connect with someone sitting across the world over a WhatsApp call or a Zoom call. We are so comfortable doing that. Yet we find it challenging to sit in our living rooms and talk with our own families. We find it hard to pick up our phone and give a member that little call who is missing the meeting, in fact, for multiple ones, and find out what is really happening in his or her life. And is there a way that you can support them as a fellow member, not just as a fellow club officer, but as a fellow member? We find it hard to sit across the table with our colleagues who we work with, the co-workers, and discuss the larger impact of the organization, of the project that you are doing. These little actions, ladies and gentlemen, is what brings people together. They bring people together, they bring people closer, and more than anything else, they help you change their lives and in turn, your life. Remember the higher purpose of your club, because you're a leader, or the higher purpose of your organization because you're an employee, or more than anything else, because remember what is the higher purpose of your life, as the leader of your own life. It's always not what is in it for you, but what is in it for them. That's when you treat people with respect. That's when you treat them with respect. You build your relationship with them, touch their heart, and build their trust in them, and eventually change lives. The third question I want to ask you is going to be a simple exercise. Now, we all look up to leaders in our lives, don't we all? Right? We all look up to a lot of leaders in our lives. So I'm going to simply share the screen and then make this particular activity. So who are the leaders that we look up to? Can we have some names? Is it maybe on the chat box, or maybe you can unmute and then share as well?
Like what type of leaders are saying? Anything.
Any leader, any field, any particular age group also, I would say. We all look up to someone, be it our parents, a renowned leader, or anyone as a matter of fact, right? So who do you look up to?
See, I am more like about Captain Vikramadra, where is
Wow. Amazing human being. And Venkatesh says, myself, wonderful. Wonderful. Who else? Who are all these leaders that we look up to?
MSD.
MSD, wonderful. Narayan Murthy. Thank you, Vijay. Who else? Come on, let's hear some names.
Yeah, for me, I really love the way our foreign minister is Shankar. He handles it. So I look up to him, especially how he handles the media.
Lovely. Amazing. Who else? Ratan Tata. Amazing. Mansi and Lalita, both of them say Ratan Tata. Fantastic. Our Viresh, okay. Viresh is one of my area directors there. Thank you, Viresh. So let's think about a person that you look up to. And you always felt, okay, I wish I had that skill. I wish I could lead my team like that. I wish I had that power to do something. What is that particular person's characteristic is something that we would like to list down now. Let me just quickly share a simple slide. Can you all see this blank presentation? That's my presentation today anyway, blank. So what are these qualities of these leaders that you look up to? Let's hear those. What are the qualities of your leaders?
Like, quick decision making, and also very importantly, I can say is that leaders makes others leader actually, and
Okay.
they help others to niche
Okay.
of dominance. They will take to the people. I can say, what is that word I'm not getting to know. Like they will go with the people. They will help the people who come up.
Help others. Okay, fantastic. Okay,
think-
what else?
I
What
think
else is the quality?
I think a leader is someone who will take responsibility. So if the team succeeds, then the credit will naturally go to the team members. And if a collective effort fails, then he or she will take the responsibility of the failure. He'll not
Lovely.
blame the team members for any success or failure.
Amazing. Okay, what else?
The one who has a vision and also plans to execute to achieve that vision, and also one who handled the UQ and IQ well in balance.
Okay.
One who is dependable and walks the talk. Maybe.
Vision. Dependable.
Emotionally controlled.
Lovely.
How they handle the situations even during tough times. Their consistency.
Amazing consistency. Okay. What else? Let's list down a few more, no problem. And we're going to have an election over here with these qualities anyway. So let's list down mentoring. Beautiful. Mentoring is a lovely point. Vision, yes. Vision, I think I mentioned. Yes, perfect. What else?
Well organizing. What is it called?
Well,
Plans.
organizing.
Plans and all.
Could you explain, please?
Yeah, actually, like suppose any task you're giving, you're any task, and you're going to fulfill that
Mhm.
task in organized and in a very planned way,
Okay.
and has that actually.
Integrity. Spelling. Okay, planning. Can I mention it as planning and execution?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Non-partial approach. Okay, and then I saw
Communication also,
as
yeah,
well.
I wrote.
Communication as well, motivating,
Who helps in realizing our capabilities?
leadership development, help others. I think these two covers this. Credit given to others. Okay, that's beautiful. Gives credit. I'll mention that way. Okay. Are you happy with the ones that are listed over here? Yeah, you want to list a few more?
I think this is good.
This is good? Okay, amazing. Strength of character and ability to create. Strength of character is a beautiful one. Okay, amazing. Okay, let's take this. I'm going to introduce two simple words to you, something that you always knew.
Ethical.
Okay, I like that as well. Okay, I'm going to introduce two simple words to you. Nothing new, nothing, something that's, it's not like the word of the day or something. Okay. The first word that I'm going to introduce is attitude, and the second word is called as a skill. What we are going to do is vote these qualities. I'm going to mention A for attitude and S for skill. All right. Are you all ready? Now, what we're going to do, you can type out the, I think it would be great if you can unmute and then tell, because I'll be calling out these skills, the attitude, whatever these particular qualities are, and then we will go ahead with it. Okay, clear? What is decision making? Is it an attitude or a skill?
Skill.
Decision making is a skill. Great. Leadership development, attitude or a skill?
Skill.
Skill.
Leadership development is a skill. Okay. The ability to help others.
Attitude.
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 Attitude. Responsible, being responsible.
Attitude.
Attitude.
Okay. Having a vision.
Skill.
Having a vision.
Attitude. I would
Okay.
Attitude.
Sorry. Okay, I'm getting both. Okay, we'll say A or S over here. Dependability.
Attitude.
Consistency.
Again, attitude.
Skill.
Attitude.
Consistency. Mentoring.
Skill.
Skill.
Okay. Emotional control.
Attitude.
Okay, if anyone is thinking otherwise, please go ahead. Otherwise, I'm going to go with what is being said over here. Empathy.
Attitude.
Attitude.
Integrity.
Attitude.
Planning and execution.
Skill.
Attitude. Skill.
Attitude or skill.
Skill. Skill.
Skill.
Okay.
Skill.
A non-partial approach.
Attitude.
Attitude.
Communication.
Skill.
Skill.
And
Motivation.
Attitude.
Attitude.
Giving credit to others.
Attitude.
attitude.
A strength of character.
Attitude.
Attitude.
Believing in one's ability.
Attitude.
Attitude.
Being ethical.
Attitude.
Attitude.
So what is the summary over here?
Most of them are attitude. So,
Attitude.
Yeah. Come again.
most of the things are attitude. So
The
if you
implied
change it,
message is absolutely right. A lot of things depends on your attitude. Let's take a simple example of a skill over here. Let's say something that is not listed over here, which is very important for a leader as well. Maybe conflict management. Yeah. Conflict management, is it a skill or an attitude?
Attitude.
I think it's both actually. Skill and attitude.
Okay, it's a skill and attitude. Okay, I'll give you an example over here about conflict itself. Now, I am going to study that particular subject of conflict management. I have done multiple courses, graduated with wonderful certifications itself on conflict management. I've studied everything that is really required for you to understand what conflict management is and things like that. So I'm a certified person. I've passed in flying colors. Does that mean I'm the best person in conflict management?
No.
No.
Why?
Because
can't
what
be
we
best.
have learned, we have to also put it to practice. Only then we'll find it
Exactly.
effective.
Exactly. Wonderfully said, Chaitanya. Thank you so much for making my life easy over here. I may have a bad attitude, but if I don't apply what I know, or the skills that I learned, it's of no use. And that application comes from changing my attitude. That is what is important. Let's relook at some of the points that we actually mentioned over here. Decision-making skill. It's a skill, no doubt about it. So when you develop the skill, when we apply this particular skill into practice, and for applying, it is important. Attitude is important. Leadership development. I may be a great leader, but if I don't help another person become a better leader, and that comes with the attitude of developing people, helping others. That is attitude. A vision that you said, some of you said attitude, some of you said skill. Having the clarity, coming up with a vision, yes, definitely it needs a lot of thought process and things like that. But making your vision into action requires you to have a great attitude. And that's how entire list of skills that we see, the qualities that we see among greatest of the greatest leaders in Toastmasters or outside in the real world as well, they have this one important quality, the right attitude. So how long does it take to change our attitude is something that we would need to understand over here as well. Let's take a simple example. I've got 2 beakers of water over here, 2 beakers of water. 1 beaker of water is at +4 degrees Celsius. And the one in my left hand is at -4 degrees Celsius. So what is really important over here? Both are some form of water, no doubt. One is at 4, the other one is at -4. Let's say I want to increase the temperature of both the beakers of water by 10 degrees Celsius. Now from 4, I want this to go to 14. From -4, I want this to go to +4. Simple. What does it take? Which beaker of water takes more effort for you?
Hold on.
One in my right or the one in my left?
Left.
The one in my left?
Yes.
Yeah. Why?
Because it's -4, and from the -4, it is cold and change the states.
What is -4 degrees Celsius water? Yeah.
Ice.
It's ice, right? It is ice, exactly. So it has to change the state from ice to water. So it takes more energy to change its state. So for us to change the state of our attitude, it does take some time. That's one of the most important realizations that I've had thanks to chemistry that I studied back in school. But that is very important. So if you need to shift your attitude from something that is negative to positive, it takes all the more efforts for us. Let's talk about human brain also, as a matter of fact. One right brain and the left brain. Now, the right brain is always known for the creative side of things, and the left is known for logical and the analytical side. Now, the left brain, if you take, it's programmable. As in, you tell this, tell that, okay, yes, this is how things are. That's like a specific path that the left brain would follow. And the right brain is not like that. Let's take the payroll example over here. And you can tell a computer that this is the exact formula that we've got to follow. And that's how the entire payroll will be generated for the entire organization. That's fantastic. You program it. So in the computer systems and the particular language, we call it as a programming language. But in human system, we call it beliefs. So when we need to program our brain to change our beliefs, it takes more effort. And that effort is what comes with moving towards right attitude, I would say. Now, let's think about something that we were taught in the childhood days and that we might not believe it is true today. What is the biggest example of something that you believed as a kid that may not be true today? Any specific thing that you can think about?
There was this one incident in the 2003 World Cup final between India and Australia, where Ricky Ponting scored 100, and there was rumor everywhere that he had spring in his bat. So that is something which was not true, but at that point of time, every one of us believed that that was true.
Okay, that is a beautiful point.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Kaival, yeah.
Yeah, one more I've read. I'm not in that time, but from my grandfather, I've heard that Major Gyan Chand, he was a hockey player, and they were testing that hockey stick whether it's a magic bat or not. So
People believed that was true, but now it might not be true. So what has happened in between?
that I don't know. I was not born, so
Fair enough. At least the story is there. Jaisurya used to use spring in his bag. Now, amazing. So now, see, something that you believed was true in the past, and now it is not true for various reasons. Either you were presented with new information, or whether you did something on your own and then read the story, understood what is lie and what is truth, and things like that. So the change in belief system is certainly possible. Another example that I can think of right now is people were telling me that money doesn't grow on trees, right? Money plant, if you have the money plant in your house, then you will have a lot of money. But I have a big money plant in my house. I don't have money. What to do? But today, ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of things that that we were programmed since our childhood that could not be true. So one of the biggest aspects that I would tell you is these qualities that you just listed down from the leaders that you look up to. These qualities are always and always with you. It's just the fact that you need to model that particular behavior. You need to become that person. As one of the most watched TED Talks, there is the Amy Cuddy's Your Body Speaks. If you have heard about that particular TED, if you haven't watched, I would highly recommend you to. She says, fake it until you make it. Fake it until you make it, and not just make it, until you become it. If you are able to model the behavior of the leader that you look up to and exhibit qualities of the leaders that you look up to, then you become that person. And that is possible only with the choice that you make. The choice of using the right attitude or building the right attitude. Just building skills that can give you attitude is great. That can give you the qualities are great. But with the right attitude, you can make a difference. So my third question, ladies and gentlemen, is what option would you choose? Building the right attitude or just building skills that can make a difference to people? The fourth one. In Toastmasters, we heard Toastmaster Lalita talk about this right at the beginning of the meeting. There was a beautiful point that she mentioned. What was it? As a sergeant at arms. What
Encourage
else
your
Arjun
fellow
Tom say?
speakers.
Sorry?
Encourage your fellow speakers by turning on your camera.
Okay, that's one. I don't want Lalita to tell this. She knows the script. Come on, yeah. Someone else does need to tell this.
Encourage the guests to speak.
Okay.
Something
What
like
else?
Recording, it'll be recorded.
I like that. What else? See,
Keep,
something that you love talking about every single day.
keep muted until you speak.
Okay, good point. But something that you love talking about, the three topics that you love talking about all the time.
Is it about politics, sex, and religion?
Exactly. See, when I say when people want to talk about, then people will be like, this is what we want to talk about. Okay. One of the
cross.
things I will tell you here today. Sorry, someone said something?
No crosstalk. So I did
Okay.
crosstalks.
Okay. So in Toastmasters meeting, we make an announcement saying that it's better not to talk about sex, religion, and politics. But why? See, Toastmasters International themselves have written in their website, in fact, all right, saying that there is no rule like that. They don't mention anywhere that you cannot talk about sex, religion, or politics. But why is it important for us to be mindful of those?
So that it does
Because
not hurt the emotions of others.
Yeah.
exactly. So you and I would have different opinions about these topics. And we have to be respectful for people's opinions as well, right? And that is what we say. We have to be mindful of when we are talking about sex, religion, and politics. So the rule just simply has gotten down into the meetings after meetings and meetings, saying that, okay, don't talk about sex, religion, and politics. But the principle over here is to be mindful. I remember when I started working, it was about, I think 2014, after a while, in fact. In the year 2014, in the month of December, there was a very specific party that I attended. It was my colleague's daughter's birthday party. And we finished the party. She was just a 5-year-old girl back then. We finished the birthday party, came back to her house, and there were huge gifts all over the place in the living room. And then, as any birthday girl would love to do, she started unpacking the gifts one by one, one by one, one by one. And there was this one particular gift that caught her attention that's called as Let's Go Fishing. It's a small game wherein a turntable is there, toy fishes are there, placed in the holes. And as the turntable rotates, the fish comes out, opens its mouth. And using a fishing rod, you just pull out that particular fish. It's a very fun game. Have you played that game, anyone? Yeah, Rohit, yes. Chetna, yes. All right. Some of you may have heard about that game or may have played with the other kids anyway. But this is a very, very beautiful game. And we were there about 3-4 of us and Neha as well, playing this particular game, each of us having one fishing rod and trying to pull out the fishes from the turntable. Neha, on the other hand, did not know how to hold a fishing rod. Let's be practical over here, 5-year-old kid. But she noticed that there is a small hook at the edge of the thread. And when we explained the game to her, she was like, okay, this is perfect. What I'm going to do is just hold the edge of the hook, wait for the fish to open the mouth, drop the hook then, wait for the fish to close the mouth, and then pull it out. Very smart, amazing. She did that. Few rounds, she did the same thing. After a few more rounds, what happened was her hand from the edge of the hook moved up. Few more rounds later, it moved further up. So this is this thread and the hook is over here. The hand started to move away from the hook. And eventually, in about 15-20 minutes time, she was able to hold the rod and pull the fishes out. So the first time when I was teaching her to play the game, I was telling her, no, Neha, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to hold the rod and things like that. She's like, no, you go away. I'll do what I want. But eventually, she started to hold the fishing rod. What does this teach us? What is the simple message that comes to you from this small little story that I said? You can go ahead and then share those.
Practice.
Practice, yes, absolutely. What else? What else could Neha teach you with that little example of let's go fishing?
That we should not quit and
Never
ultimately
quit.
we may be able to win.
Amazing, amazing. To persist, absolutely. Persistence, practice, wonderful 2 P's. Let's hear one more P there. What else?
Understand the rules of the game.
Understand the rules of the game. Very nice. All right. What else? Think. Nothing. No hurries, rather.
Yeah. Can I talk?
Yes, please, Aditya. Go ahead.
I think understands everyone's quality or what they're good at, and based on that plan.
Understand what everyone's quality or what they're good at. Makes sense. Absolutely. Viresh says learn by others' experience. That is nice. That is nice. You see, what I shared were not 4 or 5 different stories, but just one story. One story that happened for about 10 to 15 minutes. But you just heard 4 to 5 different messages from the same story. What does this tell us? When I wrote this particular speech, the message that I had in mind was perfection is a process. You don't have to be perfect the very first time you do things, but perfection is a process. And none of you mentioned this, right? None of you mentioned about perfection at all. That's why I gave you a hint also, yeah? We heard 2 P's, let's hear one more P also I mentioned. But we did not think it that way. Children could be one of the finest teachers. They are always curious to learn. Yes, they're not resistant to change. These are various other messages that we could bring in from the same speech. One speech, one single speech, a different message each time you listen to it. That is the truth. So you deliver a speech, you share something, and the audience derives what it wants. And this gave me one of the biggest realizations in speaking. When you deliver a speech, it doesn't have to be always with a single core message in a speech. Let's take any world championship speeches also. Any world champion speech that you have listened to in the past recently. Any world championship that's speech that you want to highlight or remember as such, mention.
Yeah, 2011 World Cup.
World championship speech I'm talking about, not World Cup. Toastmasters
Okay.
World Championship speech. Yeah. Nisha
Dhananjaya.
Shivram's swipe. Dhananjaya's I see something. All right. Okay. What else? If you take any simple example, let's take Dhananjaya's speech as well as a beautiful example. As I see something in you, nobody knows. I mean, no one knows what it is. And this particular message itself was completely different. He talks about networking in the speech. But what impacted were these lines: I see something in you, I don't know what it is. But the Nisha Shivram speech that Natasha mentioned about Swipe, it's this year's second place winner world championship public speaking, her speech. And if you haven't watched the speech, just go ahead and then watch it. It's a beautiful speech as well. Any world champion, if you look at, is always someone who comes up with specific style of speaking. Over the last few years, this is exactly what has happened. If you look at the individual, people don't become the world champion on that particular stage to be simply tell you. People are world champion material, and the award is just a validation of that. So when you deliver your project speeches in your Toastmasters, what is it that you really do? Do you deliver your project speech to meet the speech objectives and mark it as complete? Or to completely squeeze out every little thing that particular project can teach you? That is the biggest question. What are you embracing Are you embracing the rules of the game or the principles of the game? And when you embrace the principle of the game, the growth becomes much better, much farther. Embracing the right thing is what we need to do. The last but not the least one. Now, have you heard of this beautiful name, Osceola McCarthy? Osceola McCarthy. Have you heard about this person? No? Okay, that's fantastic. If you haven't, then that's one person that you've got to read about. Why do I say this? She's a very old woman in Mississippi. What she does for a living, she washes clothes. What she did for years together is wash clothes. Wash clothes rather. This washerwoman, all she did in the morning, she picked up the clothes that she was supposed to wash them to dry, and pack them, and then give it back. Every single day for year after year, she did the same thing. And as she gave the clothes back to the people, and the people gave her some money, and she was uneducated, she had no family, and she was staying alone. What she did, she took the little money that she got, went straight to the bank and started depositing it. And this happened not one day, not 1 month, but years together. For years together, all she did was wash clothes, get the money, put it in the bank. Wash clothes, get the money, put it in the bank. Wash clothes, get the money, put it in the bank. Throughout her life. And one day when she went into the bank, the banker asked her, when she deposited money, the banker asked her, Osceola, do you know that the amount that you have in your bank account? She said no. She said, for that the banker said, okay, what do you want to do with this much of money? You have a lot of money. What do you want to do? She said, I have no idea. I have no family. I have no relations. You tell me what I want to do. So this banker, he took up about 10 coins from his drawer, placed it on the table. All right, Osceola, these are the 10 coins, and this symbolize the money that you have in your bank account. Now you tell me, what do you want to do? She picked up 2 and then she placed it aside, then mentioned it to the banker saying that, okay, give this to my relative over here in this particular place. She picked up a few more, about 3 more, and then she gave it to, asked him to keep it aside. She asked him to give this particular money to the people who need things. And then she took up the remaining 5 coins and then asked this particular money to be given to the University of Mississippi. And mentioned very specifically that this money should be used for funding the education of a student from the Black community. You know how much money that was? It was $150,000. The 40% of the money that Osceola had saved, $150,000, was given to the University of Mississippi without any hesitation for the education of Black women, children. Ladies and gentlemen, over the years, what Osceola did was save up these small little pennies and cents and dimes and all these little coins that she gets from people, deposit into the bank. And these small actions, small changes make a big difference. I remember when I first was introduced to public speaking, it was in class 5 in a new school that I had joined in Bangalore. The class was divided into small groups and they had asked one of the persons to come to the stage and speak. And being a new person, my so-called friends, what they did was push me on stage. I went there, stood in front of the entire class and started crying. And I heard this voice from my English teacher. I don't think you can ever speak properly, Arjun. Go back now. And those words rather stuck to me, and the public speaking was a big no-no in my life. For my entire life, whenever I was presented an opportunity to speak, I ran away. But in 2012, when I joined Toastmasters, my mentor told me, it's all okay, Arjun, doesn't matter. What you're going to do is simply this: speak. He didn't tell me what to speak. He didn't tell me why to speak, how to speak, nothing. He just told speak. And I had no clue how to go about. But every single time I went to my mentor, Nikhil, and then asked him, is this okay? Is that okay? Am I doing the right thing? Always sought his advice. He gave a different perspective of things. He partnered with me and helped me develop personally and professionally. As Dr. Manwani says, the three beautiful P's of mentoring: perspectives, partnership, and personal and professional development. He was all three for me. And even when I failed in my third speech, I stood there for 30 seconds without knowing what was the next line in my speech. Even when I stood there, he stood in the corner of the hall and then was smiling at me. That was the partnership. After the meeting, I told him that I don't want to deliver speeches. He said, doesn't matter. Let's do something else. That was partnership. And once we started to work together, eventually I went to him and then asked him, okay, I have this idea in mind. What do we do? And ever since then, ladies and gentlemen, I have started to deliver speeches. And today, even after delivering 300 to 400 project speeches in Toastmasters, why I always go back to that one little incident, what happened in my 5th grade, is always because it can have an impact, but what your mentor says makes a big difference. The small little meeting roles that I started to take is what he's mentioned. Take up the timer's role, take up the accounter's role. You will slowly start building the confidence. And he realized that I lacked confidence at that point in time, and he did not force me or ask me to deliver a speech. He just gave me a simple opportunity to take those small little pennies and cents and dimes and start investing into my bank account of becoming a speaker. That is what the biggest difference small actions can make. So the last question, ladies and gentlemen, is what are those small actions that you wish to take? Because small actions or small changes make a big difference. To summarize very quickly, what I'm going to do is divide, or rather share those 5 points with the acronym SHOES. The first one, S, leadership always begins with self. The second one, what is the higher purpose, H, higher purpose of your life? Is it chasing applause, creating impact, or changing lives? The third one, the option that you have to choose. What would you choose? To develop the right attitude, or to just develop skills? Fourth one, are you embracing the rules or the principles? And last but not the least, the S, small actions, the small changes that we make always make a big difference. I'm going to take a brief pause here and then ask if there are any questions. If there are any, I would love to clarify or answer them as much as I can. And that would be a great opportunity to interact as well. How can I help you understand something a little better?
Arjun, I have a question over here. We work in the corporate world, right? And in the corporate, like, we have to give the presentation. Now, what happens is the presentation contains a lot of facts, right? So how do you make it more interesting and captivating, taking into account that, like, what kind of a role you would be playing in the Toastmasters, which would help you to come up with a good, as a good presenter in the corporate.
Okay, amazing. So if I can understand your question right, how do we present data in an interesting manner?
Right.
Is that okay? The data or the numbers as such. So this is one of the biggest examples that I can I can share over here. Now, this recently happened. So now when we talk about presentation skills, speaking skills, we'll get to learn as to how to present confidently. Forget about the content, but the presence on stage in terms of connecting with the people. That way, it's great. Now the content is where that comes into picture. Right now, when we take the content, when we have data in place, how do we make it really interesting? Now let's take that particular data down into break that particular data down into smaller parts. If you look at it, one of the specific highlights is, if we are talking about numbers, how do we connect the numbers together in an interesting manner? Can we weave a story around this? Does each number represent or can be compared to a specific story as such? That is something that we would need to look at differently. If we are talking about statistics, how can that particular statistic or data bring in a value? And adding value would come back into that. I mean, by talking about adding value and then talking about the data or introducing the number or statistic would make a difference. So get into the whys of those information that is there, the why of that particular statistic. And then you talk about the what. So the why always makes a big difference when you look at presenting information. So that's one of the ways. A simple thing is, let's say, when we talk about making presentations with a lot of numbers, what had happened to me personally was, I come from a tech background, right? As in tech, not IT, information technology, but engineering background. In that particular engineering background, I need to make training sessions. I mean, conduct training sessions of our, the technology that we use, the SCADA system that we use basically in the power plants. So in that point in time, for every single activity, what I could come up with, because of the kind of exposure that I had in Toastmasters, what I could come up with is basically to map that particular activity into a small example, quote an example as to what would happen if that particular activity is not done. So in simple terms, tell a story, make the point. So the data always can be mapped with data or the particular statistic, right? It can always be mapped with one or the other example. It could be from something that you have heard in your work life. It could be something that you have experienced on your own as well. So always think about the examples that could be mapped with. It might be a case wherein you cannot think of examples. They're just pure numbers, and the numbers just need to be presented. What do we do in such cases? Highlight the presentation aspect of it, like how those numbers are presented. That's where the skills of developing a good presentation comes in. So it's not just about telling people or communicating or talking with people, but how you communicate even with your visual imagery. So even while presenting a number, instead of simply using a bar chart in your presentation, are we using something more creative to grab that attention on that particular number? That makes a difference. And this is something that personally I had incorporated in one of the reports. So as a club growth director or a program quality director, you need to present the report that talk about numbers. And when I presented such a report, what I consciously made an effort to is to present it in a very creative manner. So if there is a single number that I need to project, in what way can I make the person who is seeing the visual aid, seeing the presentation, can look at it differently? Is it just that particular number that highlights, or is it like a creative manner can I bring in? Can I use some imagery there or any other illustration? So that is a way that you can make it interesting, because what you're going to talk is something that's purely technical or content rich. When it is content rich, make it visually appealing. When it is less visually appealing, make it content wise appealing. So by using a story or an anecdote. So this is something that you can play around with, is what I feel. That's something that I would like to share.
Excellent point. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Anything else that I can help you with?
I have a question, Arjun. So you've been a leader for very long. What drives you? Because I've been a leader not for very long, but I'm already tired. Because sometimes not in this club, but otherwise also, I feel very tired. I feel like I'm the only one doing the work. So, what keeps you? What motivates you to go on like this for decades together?
You have just completed 1 decade. You're not multiple decades or all. I'm not that old. Okay. It's a beautiful question, honestly, Sonal. What really drives you? Wow. What's your higher purpose in life? To me, as an individual, the best example is what happened with Guru. When I saw that man deliver the speech, I cried. I literally was in tears. That was the moment that I realized that this is a place, a platform that can change lives. Being a person who never used to speak in front of people, today, if I'm able to talk for hours and hours and hours together before you ask me to shut up, it's purely because of this organization called as Toastmasters. It joined in 2012, and today, if I'm even this much closer to what I want to be, the catalyst is Toastmasters. So this is an organization that can actually change lives. It has changed lives of people who come from completely very, less experience or exposure, backgrounds with less exposure, and yet have become highly, highly, and highly successful. Why? Because of the opportunities that are presented and how they made use of it. So people are always there who walk by your side whenever you want to hold hands, or who always are behind you to push you forward, or who are in front of you to pull you from there. So that is the greatness of this particular organization. And everybody wants to win. If you look at the truly what is the attitude of people over here, they want to win. They want others to win. You sit in the audience, and then you just clap when the person completes the speech. Why? Because you want the person to feel better. You give an evaluation that makes the person feel better, even though the person knows that he or she has delivered not so great speech. But even then, you encourage them. Positivity. So the positivity of this particular platform and the particular attitude of making people better is purely what makes me take up multiple things every single time. As a speaker, I love listening to stories. Come here to listen to speeches because the speeches are stories that people share. They have something to share, to teach me at the end of the day. And that's what I wish to learn. I love to know what's happening in your life. So I come here and listen to you speak. We can do that one-on-one with our friends. We can do that in our Toastmasters community. When it is a community, it's the larger impact. As someone said, learn from others' mistakes as well some time ago in the meeting. So you get to learn from different perspectives. It makes you evolve as an individual, makes you a better human being. And that's why I keep coming back to the meetings. I keep coming back to do something or the other. Hope that made some justice to my journey in Toastmasters. I know that what I said is very small compared to what I have learned though. But yeah, that's that. Anything else? All right, fine. Typically, I would love to conclude with a story, but today I wish to share a poem, one of my favorite ones, in fact. It's a poem by Portia Nelson. It's a poem about habits, and it's something about what we discussed over here over the last hour, in fact. And if you might have taken notes, it's absolutely fantastic about what I mentioned over the last few minutes. The choice is definitely yours. You can make life happen. You can have the notes with you, keep it aside, make life happen, and do nothing about things. But you can absorb what you heard over the last few minutes and become something better than who you were in the last few years. But the choice is definitely yours to make. And it's a poem titled Autobiography in 5 short chapters. And it goes like this. Chapter 1. I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I'm lost. I'm hopeless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever for me to get out. But somehow I do. Chapter 2. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see that hole, but I fall in again. I can't believe that I'm in the same place, but that's still not my fault. The hole was there. It still takes a long time for me to get out, but somehow I do. Chapter 3. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see the hole this time. I still fall in, and it's become a habit. But this time, my eyes are open. I know where I am. I know it is my fault. And as soon as I realize that, I get out immediately. Chapter 4. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. But this time, I walk around the hole. Chapter 5. I walk down a different street. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully, the ideas or the tools or the techniques that I shared in the last few minutes with you today would help you walk down a different street. Thank you so much for your time. Back to you, Toastmaster Sonal.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Arjun, for sharing your distilled life experiences both within and outside Toastmasters with us in the past 1.5 hours. And definitely, I'm sure that all of us will get enriched and walk a different route, a more enriching route. Thank you for helping us take that route. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a huge round of applause for distinguished Toastmaster Arjun Sundaraj for not just accepting our invite, but also conducting such a fantabulous keynote session. I haven't heard something like this in the recent past. Now, that being said, we still have about 30 minutes to go. Should we take a picture before that? This is a momentous occasion. Shankar, would you take a picture?
Absolutely. I would request everyone to switch on the video just for a few seconds. Yeah, if possible. Yeah. Okay, great. They're coming up. Kaivalya, I can see you. Okay, fantastic, Videsh. Thanks. We'll just take a few second time. I request everyone to quickly switch on the video.
Something's wrong with Abhishek, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, it's coming rotated.
Oh, okay. Maybe Abhishek, you can remove the Zoom background and you can switch on. Thank you,
Yeah.
Vijay. Really appreciate if you are, although you are traveling, but you still switched on.
It's rotated. Okay, let me check.
It's on the other. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, actually, we could. Thank you, Arjun. We could all, use the art emojis so that it looks all the more lovable.
Yes.
If possible.
Okay, we'll take the picture in 5 seconds. Another 5.
The art will vanish, yeah.
4, 3, 2, and okay, 1. Sometimes the mouse don't work. Okay, quick snap. Okay, just the last time I'm taking because my mouse didn't work at that time. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Fantastic.
I hope your mouse worked this time around.
I hope so.
I hope so too. Yes. So after this session, we still have about 30 minutes left to go before we can wind up. So we will have a table topic session if you all are up for it. Yes?
Yes.
And I must thank and acknowledge the presence of Area Director Videsh, Area Director Vijay. I sent them the invite very late in the night, and despite such short notice, they made it. I'm sure to listen to the district director, but thank you for gracing our 12th anniversary meeting. And so to conduct the table topic session, we have the most senior member of our club, the pillar of the Toastmasters, Speakers and Toastmasters Club, somebody who's won numerous contests, the most my third arm. So ladies and gentlemen, with a huge round of applause, please help me welcome on stage our table topic master for today, Toastmasters Sankhya Day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sonal, and a very good afternoon, dear Toastmasters and our lovely guests. So, I just remember a story, and that goes a few years ago. And when I was in college, suddenly I got a phone call from one of my friends, and he was sounding very nervous, and he was like about to cry. I said, "Can you please come up?" I said, "What happened?" I was tensed, and he was literally crying. So he stays very close by. So I just went to his house running, and his mom opened up the door and said, "What happened, beta?" I said, "No, I just want to speak to him." And I was panting because I know what happened. So I opened up the door, and there he was lying in the bed, and he was crying and said, "What happened?" Because I was really tense, something bad might happen. So he said, "My whole life is lost." I mean, yeah, that I already know that it happened in the past as well. But what happened now? He said, "I'm in love." And okay, but why are you crying? He said, "No, I saw a girl, and she was just passing by. I fall in love, and I couldn't take her number as well." I said, "What?" I mean, I was literally like, completely that you just fall in love just by seeing a girl, just by, uh, just a car passed by and you saw her and you fall in love and you call me up. And what kind of this? So I wanted to say a lot of things to him, but my mind got completely blanked out. And that's when I realized I really need to improve on my impromptu speaking. And that's what I found out, hey, in Toastmasters, there's something called table topics where I can really, really practice my impromptu speaking. So what happens in this particular segment in table topics, what I come to know is in this one, we are going to speak impromptu. And it's really would be interesting because that's when I'll be giving a topic, a very interesting and very easy topic. But on the topic, when you are speaking, you have to speak minimum of 1 minute and a maximum of 2 minutes. And we do have a buffer time of 30 seconds. But how do we know that when the 1 minute is over? So for that, we have our lovely timer for today with Toastmaster Rohit, who is going to show us a green card, a yellow card, and a red card. And how does it happen, Rohit?
Yeah. Thanks, Toastmaster Sankhya. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm the timer for the table topics today. So I will be showing, all the speeches should for the table topic should be between 1 to 2 minutes, and I will be timing those speeches. And at 1 minute, I will be showing a green card, and just a second. So this is what it should look like. And at 1 minute 30 seconds, it would be a yellow card, and at 2 minutes, it would be a red card. So that's how it's gonna be. Over to you, Sankhya.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Rohit. Let's give a round of applause for our timer because that's where we are going to point him. Please do mark him that he's going to the timer. Rohit, why don't you rename yourself as a timer _ Rohit? Okay, you have a lovely smile, Rohit. So let's get back to the first topic of the day. Okay. So just to rephrase, I'll be giving the topic, and till the time Rohit is going to show the green background, we're going to continuously speak on that, and at red, we're going to stop. So the first topic, let me invite Toastmaster Chetna. Toastmaster Chetna, are you ready with the topic? I'll give you the topic.
Sure, Sankhya.
Fantastic. Chetna, your topic is, if your life is an object, which one it would be and why? I repeat, if your life is an object, which one it would be and why?
The topic is, if my life is an object, which one it would be and why?
That's right.
If I were an object, I would love to be a paper, because in paper there are so many uses. People write some knowledgeable articles in paper, and through that, I can spread knowledge all over the world through books. And also, I would be useful for so many other things for kids, like in craft work or other things, whatever kids would want to make. And using a paper, even currency notes are printed. So I would be of high value being a paper. And I would enjoy kids drawing on me with their little stencils, with their sketch pens, and also using their pencils. And also, I would also love it when kids make things like rockets, balls out of me and play with me. So I feel that being a paper was something useful. It can be used for many purposes, right from making a ball to writing useful things. And also, I would be very happy when the whole world reads me. Thank you.
Thank you, Chetna. Let's give a round of applause for Chetna. In fact, the paper is like an open canvas. You can be so much creative. There's so much of things on which you can put it. Fantastic analogy, Chetna. Now I will move to Kaivalya. Kaivalya, I have a very interesting topic for you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Kudos. So Kaivalya, your topic is, if you have to step in a time machine, where would you go? I repeat, if you have to step in a time machine, where would you go?
Okay. Thank you for inviting me to this meeting and giving me this opportunity. If I were to step in a time machine, I would love to go to an age where there was no social media, to an age where our ancestors lived peaceful life, where there was no stress in terms of academics, where there was no stress in terms of career competition, when there was no stress in terms of the money that you are earning, when when family values, friendships, brotherhood, all these kind of values, they had some kind of an importance in life. People were morally strong and they were humanitarian with each other. So I would like to go in that kind of an age. This, I believe, was not too long ago. Our society witnessed these kind of principles and values as early as like 100 or 200 years ago. So if you ask me, I would like to go in that, because for me, I think if you ask me, more than earning money, what is important is living peacefully. So I think that is where I would like to go. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kaivalya. Let's have a round of
Thank you.
applause. Being in the Toastmaster platform for the first time, you did amazing. Really kudos to you. And that brought me on the time machine back a few years back when I joined Toastmaster, and my mind was completely blank out. I don't know what to speak, but you did a fantastic job. Kudos to you, Kaivalya. Okay, and now
Thank you. Just a correction. It's not the first time. I was a past member of the Toastmasters.
Oh yes,
but
it's
table
kind of
topics
a
always scare me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that also gives you a time machine hook to know that, yeah, I was in the Toastmaster, and that bring you back in the
Absolutely.
present. Kudos.
Absolutely.
Fantastic,
Thanks.
Kaivalya. And now we would go Devi Rajam. Would you love to try? Devi Rajam, you there? Okay, we'll move to Aditya. Aditya, are you ready?
Yes, yes.
Aditya, I have a different kind of a topic, and I would say it's a topic. It's a starting of a story. Okay, so I'll give you a small line, and you have to continue a story on that.
Okay.
So your story line would be: lightning a cigarette. I said. I repeat, Lighting a cigar, I said.
Okay, what is a cigarette?
Cigarette.
Oh, cigarette.
Yeah.
Lighting a cigarette, I said. Okay. Okay. Let me think a little bit. Just okay. Lighting a cigarette, and I said to just throw that cigarette out because it doesn't affect your health also, but it affects the environment. And it is something okay. It's sometimes cool. It reduces the stress when you just yeah, put a cigarette out, but it affects our environment and also the tree vegetables or what, the plants and the atmosphere, and also it affects the other person. So something where the cigarettes are in many types. You can just see people like, wow, so cool I am, just to impress girls or anyone. I just do cigarette, and but ultimately you are affecting yourself and as well as the environment. But lightning can, lightning like a cigarette, you're you are putting inside the full of the respiratory system and coming out. I can tell a practical story of a life which is connected to it, something which you are getting information inside and you're throwing out somewhere else. So that's what I've learned, that when you try to lighting the cigarette and trying to smoke, that means you put inside the information and throw it out. So according to me, yes, like whatever things, whether it's a bad habit or a good habit, but I'll take a good information from that, and I will just try to stop the cigarettes and also affect the health. But it's their own choice. Some, for few people it reduces the stress, what I've told, and for few people it is reduces, affects the health. So it's your choice where what you want to be. So whatever things is a positive, negative. So lighting the cigarettes, and it's sometimes very good in two ways. One way is that you'll get rid of the stress, and one way is that you can show your presence and show off. That is the second thing. But in bad way, in many ways, in affects the environment and myself. So that's it.
Thank you, Aditya. Round of applause for Aditya. And now we'll move to Abhishek. Abhishek, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Abhishek, your topic is, if I could be a certain age forever, what it would be? I repeat, if I could be a certain age forever, it would be.
Yeah. If I could be at certain age forever, it would be 20 years age. The reason being, at the age of 20, you know some of the things in the past and you are little bit matured, and you can grasp or you can read something, and you can also understand a lot of things. So at that age, I will read lot of things, lot of books or other things, and the same thing I would like to share with different people. And at the age of 20 is the right time to nurture your personality, habits, everything. So everything you can do, all the personality growth at 18 or 20 years, you can develop your personality, you can convince, or you can do anything possible. And apart from that, the age 20 also helps you to think about your career. So 18 to 20, you can think about your career, you can decide your goals. So at that age, if you are 100% balanced, so if you know the correct things, what to do, then the same thing you can foresee in the future. You can have into so a lot of things you can practice at that age. If you practice yoga, meditation, or philosophy, you can give it to the world. So that is the correct age according to me, because you can give it to the world also at that age. Yeah. Over to you, Toastmaster Sankhya.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Abhishek. And now we'll just go ahead with Sonal. Sonal, if you're there.
Yeah.
Okay. Sonal, a very interesting and very relatable topic for you would be
Yeah.
how to annoy a sibling. I repeat,
My goodness. No,
how to
why
annoy
did you?
your sibling.
No, how did you say it's relatable to me? I don't annoy my sibling at all. In fact, I consider my sibling to be one of God's greatest gifts to me after my voice, because I lost my father 2 years ago, and that's when my sibling, who's much younger to me, stood up, and now he's a father figure. So more than a brother, he's a father figure to me. And I don't think, sometimes I feel like even my dad wouldn't have done so much justice as much as my brother is doing. So my brother doesn't annoy me. I probably may be annoying him, but so far so good. Touch wood. So I'm very very happy with what I've been blessed with. Back to you, Toastmaster Sankhya.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Sonal. In fact, I have my sibling, my cousins, and my real sisters as well. So, whenever we get time, yeah, we pull each other's back as well. So that's a fun we have as well. So next one, I would invite Arjun. You can.
Sure, Shan.
Okay. Arjun, your topic would be TikTok. I repeat, the topic would be TikTok.
It was 3 a.m. in the morning. I could hear the trees rustle in the monsoon winds. I could feel the pressure on my chest when the clock was sounding tick tock, tick tock. I could not sleep. Gasping for breath, I sat upright, wondering how my days went by. Just a few hours before that, my brother had walked into my room, gave me a cup of coffee, and then said something that changed my life forever. When I told him that, Mithun, I don't know what I'm doing in my life. I don't like what I'm doing. I don't enjoy my work. I don't feel satisfied. But with that coffee in hand, he said, if you keep wanting for things to happen, Arjun, then I can pretty much predict how your life would be. That's called as default future. If you wish to make things happen, then the only thing that you can realize is you alone can change your default future. He said that and went away. I went to bed and I could not sleep. I heard the trees rustle in the monsoon winds. Gasping for breath, I sat up when I heard the clock said tick tock, tick tock. But when I got up, had a sip of water, then I told myself that this is what I'm going to change. I started to do things what I love. I started to enjoy what I was doing. And this, ladies and gentlemen, happened in the year 2011. It was only because of the little sound that I heard and the decision that I made when the clock was saying tick tock, tick tock. That change in the decision was like this. But today I tell you, it is in your hand. In that second, you surely can change what your life will be in the future, your default future. Back to you, Sanjay.
Wow, that was amazing. And as the word TikTok comes, so I would now request our timer for today's meeting, Mr. Rohit, and I will take up the role of the TikTok as well. So your word And I'll again, take you a topic which is very much relatable with the timing as well. So your topic would be, if I could spend one day with someone from history, it would be, I repeat, if I could spend one day with someone from history, it would be.
Okay. So my topic is if I would spend one day with someone from history, I think it would be Mahatma Gandhi, because I have been a follower of him, and I like what he has preached, and like no violence, and the way he was instrumental in getting independence for India. So I think I have been amazed with him. So I would really like to spend a day with him, understand what was that qualities which differentiated him from others, why he was called the father of the nation, why he was the one who could unite the whole nation. What is something which we can learn from him in terms of probably leadership or following the path and teaching and actually following what he was preaching as well. So, I mean, I would love to be part of all the things which he was part of, let's say the Salt March, the Dandi Yatra, and whatever the the Satyagraha movement and all those things. So I think that is what I think Mahatma Gandhi is one person whom I would like to spend a day with. Yeah, over to you, Sanjay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rohit. Let's do a round of applause for Rohit. And that with that sound of history, now we are in the present. And with that, let me give back the present to Toastmaster Sonal as well. Toastmaster Sonal, the stage is yours as the presiding officer. Okay. While the clock is ticking, and sometimes there are certain changes which happens, like one of them is called the technical issue, wherein the time freezes for the moment, and everybody sees that, okay, wait, what's happening? So so let me take back the passion for today, and with that, let us close our meeting number 343, and thank you everyone for such a great audience. And let's give a round of applause for our distinguished Toastmaster Arjun for such a fantabulous workshop, such a fantabulous, the keynote session which you did, because I have attended a lot of sessions, and this is, I would practice it, is one of the sessions which I really, really appreciate. I really love. I was completely hooked from the starting to the end of that. And it's just like, when the time flows, you don't even know. So that's what exactly happened. Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Arjun. And with that, let us close today's meeting. And thank you everyone for joining us. And in case you want to connect with us, do connect with me. My phone number is 888-49-8840. And I would love to add you in our guest group. And see you next Sunday, same time, 11 o'clock. Thank you and have a great weekend ahead.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. Thank you, Sonal. Thanks everyone for having me.
Hello.
Have fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah. Yes, Kaival.
Before we can close, I just had one question for DTM Arjun. DTM Arjun, thanks for the keynote session. I really enjoyed it. I just wanted one guidance or advice from you. And I think most of the new Toastmasters present here would also be wanting to hear from you about that. So my question was, how can we get the most out of a Toastmasters program?
Okay, beautiful. Thank you, Kaivalya, for the kind words and for the question, in fact. Now, in simple terms, if I can tell you how to get most of the most from the Toastmasters world, I would simply say this particular quote: "As you sow, so you reap." Why do I really say that? Because the amount of time that I'm able to spend in Toastmasters is purely what is directly proportional to what I can get out of Toastmasters. Amount of time, meaning what do I really invest into Toastmasters? Am I just renewing my membership term after term? Or am I actively utilizing my time? And in business terms, am I making return on my investment that I'm making actually? So how do we really get the return is what the biggest question is. And that's quite common as well. Now, the simple meeting roles, it starts from there. My mentor, Nikhil, told me if you give 1x importance to your speeches, you give 3x or even 4x importance to the meeting roles that you take. Now, this might be a very simple thing. You can see the timer changing the background, our counters counting the number of hours, and then saying the speaker number X made, what do you call it, 5 hours, and then speaker number 2 made 4 hours, and so on and so forth. But what is it that you do with those roles? You don't join Toastmasters to become a better counter in the world or a better timer in the world, not at all. But as a timer, what are you keeping track of? As a what do you call counter, what are you keeping track of? You're working on your listening skills, number one. Secondly, you're working on how to deliver a feedback. You're giving a feedback to the speaker, not just saying that, okay, you took so much of time, it's a feedback that you're delivering. So while you're talking on stage or on screen, it's those few seconds that you spend. And those little seconds, you remember small investments have big changes, big difference. These small investments of time that you do builds confidence. And that's how you will be slowly able to deliver a table topic speech. You mentioned that you feel nervous while speaking on table topics. I do too. Everybody does. There is no speaker in the world that does not have nervousness, that does not have butterflies in the stomach when he or she is speaking. It's only about making them fly in a pattern in your stomach. And that makes a difference. That purely comes when you invest more time into it. That's on stage. The second, the most important part is what comes off stage. What do you do after the club meeting? What do you do after you go back home? Are you actually investing time in your learning? Understanding what that particular project really wants to teach you about, and then working with your mentor. Because the word mentor is a magical word. The person is magic, basically. So are you literally troubling your mentor? Are you tormenting your mentor to make the best, to make your journey the best? That's the second most important part when it comes to off stage itself. The third is what are the opportunities that are presented? Within the meeting room, there are various opportunities that are presented. So outside of your club as well, there are millions of opportunities that are there. Volunteering as a timer. During my icebreaker speech, what my mentor Nikhil told, he was the area director back then, all right? He told Arjun, can you come at 3 o'clock? Meeting is at 6 o'clock. I was delivering my icebreaker. He didn't bother about it. I scolded him for that also. I fought with him. But what he did was, can you come at 3 o'clock? He didn't tell what, why, when, where, how. He just come to the meeting venue at 3. I believed. I trusted him, so I went there. And that is the day when the area contest was there. What he did, he made me the sergeant. He made me the sergeant to stand outside the door during the evaluation contest and be take care of the contestants that are there outside. Meanwhile, while I was standing outside, he asked me, you don't stand there idle, stand and practice your speech. I did that. You see, these are the opportunities that are presented to you. How you make use of those opportunities is completely up to you. So it's those choices that you make. So when you're able to consciously choose to invest your time in the meeting room, outside of your meeting room for learning, then automatically all these add up to make you a better person and a confident person. So this is, in simple terms, I can tell you in this way. If you want me to get into the details as to which role teaches you what and how and why, then definitely we can connect offline. There is nothing to worry about it. I'll probably guide you through the entire process so that I'm more than guiding right away, I would say to understand what you expect. Because whatever you want to do, this is where you are, this is where you want to go, right? This particular line over here is the catalyst, and Toastmasters can fit into that particular place as a catalyst. Believe me, I'm not exaggerating. This is something that Toastmasters can do to you. In what way you want to make use of it is something that you need to define. And when you define your vision, someone said vision about leadership. When you're able to understand your vision as a member from where you are to where you want to go, then when you have that clarity, then nothing can stop you from doing what you want to. Whatever it is that you want to. It's possible.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, DTM Arjun.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arjun. Thank you, Kaivalya, for that.
Thank you, Arjun.
Yes, Aditya.
No, actually the mic is on, so I just.
Okay, then thank you so much, everyone. And we are now good to close our meeting number 343. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And see you next week, same time. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.